So, EA is struggling with the perception of they're just a bunch of bad guys, and they can't seem to figure out why. But seriously, apparently they have no idea why people don't like their company. Why were they voted like the worst company more than once? I mean, come on. It's pretty clear why. But yeah, I thought we'd go through this real quick. It was quite interesting. I mean, 25 years at EA, and I struggle with the external perception that we are just a bunch of bad guys. Bilbey said. I can't say his name. Anyway, it's Matt. It's Matt. I can't do last names. So Matt said, we love making and playing video games. Unfortunately, we make the mistake, or when we make mistakes on games, the world knows about it because of its size and scale. Yes, the world is going to know about your game because it's a large game, you're a large company, and everybody know who you are. However, they also haven't in the past several days, the past week or so, blamed their audience for why it's failing. You know, let's see, what's another company? Rockstar, for instance. Rockstar here. When I think Rockstar, I probably don't think small indie developer. I don't know about you, but I don't, and they've made fantastic games. And when they screw up, guess what? The community lets them know. It's not that, you know, they don't talk about it or anything or whatever it is. Anyway, point is, Grand Theft Auto 5 here. Great game, right? Online comes out, has issues. People talk about it. Red Dead Redemption 2, great game. Has issues once it has its online component. And there are several other games where they've done things like this. But apparently with the whole Anthem issue, EA has been struggling with this concept of saying, you know, it's the gamer's fault, you know, it's the customers, for whatever reason, they're the reason, you know, this game has failed. Okay. If that's where you want to go, that's fine. I've talked about Anthem a little bit, not a whole lot. Pretty much what their microtransaction store was about to look like before it came out, but that looked like that was going to be a mess. But right now, they're currently struggling with trying to figure out why they're the bad guys, and the whole point of this video is for me to, I don't know, show a little bit of why gamers don't like you. Why is it that when they talk about your company, they're like, oh crap, EA's doing it, of course. Well, this is going to be great. How are they going to mess this one up? And I started compiling a list, right? I started compiling these lists of things that you have done in the past recently. Just why people don't like EA. Like, for instance, Battlefield and issues in there. The microtransactions in Battlefront, where the whole game, that and Anthem as well, by the way, were made around the, what is it, who was it who told who again, in Parliament or whatever, surprise mechanics, yeah, that's it, the surprise mechanics that you guys put into these games, you know, we're there for the fun, you know, everybody loves surprises, right? Surprise! Anyway, but yeah, you know, where the game was molded around the loot box system that you had to pay into or grind for hours just to get the equivalent to it without putting real money into it, just to unlock like heroes and other things into the game. And then, of course, later on, they were coming back. We knew they were going to come back. They put them back into the game. You know, it wouldn't have been as bad of an issue if it was a cosmetic-only system to begin with, but hey, you know, what do we know? And then, let's not forget the mobile market for these guys. Command & Conquer has been missing for quite a while, and what do we get? Oh, we get this thing here. Command and Conquer Rivals, and of course the FIFA and the NBA and the Madden mobile versions that are games are pretty lackluster, but you know what they're really good at? Pushing you into that microtransaction store, because, EA has this habit of wanting you to go into the microtransaction store. So I was compiling this list, right? I mean, I've got a notepad here that's opened off to the side about, EA Battle 4, Battlefield 2, shutting down good gaming studios and stuff like that, sitting on their IPs and other stuff, right? And I found this by accident, and I was like, well, this might be interesting. 15 reasons here that, how was this thing? 15 ways EAs have totally screwed up. And a lot of these were going to be on my list already. I just was in the process of compiling them. So I figured, why not take the easy route real quick and just look at some of these so I can show you, EA, what is it that we as the consumer don't like about you. And this one here is one of the top ones on my list because I love SimCity. And it was such an issue until they finally made it for me to be able to not have to be online to play it, because, with my current job and everything else, well, maybe not then, but when I got it and stuff, I wasn't home very much. I didn't have an active internet connection. And one of the things that I really hated was the fact that I have access to SimCity, but I couldn't play it without an internet connection. Because not everybody in the freaking world has an internet connection 24/7. But anyway, you got the Max's issue with SimCity. And then, of course, there's other things with it. Like, for instance, the fact that the cities were so small and all this other stuff, and it was clearly a downgrade with upgraded visuals, and it was just a whole mess in itself. But you've got the always online trend. That kind of fits in with what I was just saying with SimCity. SimCity 5 required you to always be online because it was the DRM and all that good stuff, because they had to make sure you weren't pirating the game, because, well, let's face it, if you had a choice between paying EA and, I don't know, pirating EA, you probably would go for the pirate. Colombian coffee, by the way. That stuff is good. Can't get it anymore. I think it's illegal to bring it into the States now. Anyway, but this one here is also on my list. Let's see, what was my notepad? My notepad said shutting down good gaming studios like Westwood and other things, Mystic, few others. But EA has this habit of gobbling up other companies, right? For their great IPs, because they've done great things, like what was it? Like the Command and Conquer series. I'm sorry, it's early. With the mobile market here, we looked at that for a split second. Command and Conquer, it's been gone for a while. Who did Command and Conquer Red Alert and stuff? That was Westwood Studios. Well, EA gobbled them up, scuttled them, and has been sitting on their IPs ever since. That's why we haven't had a good game in years from them, because they don't exist anymore. But EA has a huge habit of gobbling up different developers and just completely scuttling them. They'll give them something to do or whatever, and give them like a year to complete something that normally would take longer than a year. And then when they don't meet the demand, or they make a really crappy product, because EA is like, oh, by the way, not only are you going to do what you normally do, but we need you to add all these extra microtransactions. It's got to be online only. It's got to have a multiplayer. It's got to have this, got to have that, which is far removed from the normal product from said, company. And then they eventually scuttle it. But the Dungeon Keeper Fiasco, I actually don't know anything about that one, other than the fact that Dungeon Keeper was originally a game from like Bullfrog Productions. I think. Does it say? Give SimCity flashback. Short Dungeon Keeper, Bullfrog. Okay, yeah. Anyway, it was apparently a fun game. That's what I've heard. It seems like a game that I would love to play because I love doing things like that. But I've played the mobile version, of course, and it's horrible. Yeah. Anyway, the Origin, terrible customer service. If anything, we all hate Origin. A lot of people hate Origin. Most people want to use Steam. I was thinking, when Epic's storefront came out, going, oh, well, this would be great. It's going to be a competent competitor to Steam. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Ignore that entire thing that I said about that. Epic was not. Anyway, Steam's still the way to go when it comes to PC gaming. Sorry. Origin, not so much. I wouldn't own Origin at all if it wasn't for the fact the Sims games primarily stay on Origin. That's the only reason I have Origin. And that's one of my guilty pleasures is to play The Sims. Anyway, the Death of Ultima. That's another case of gobbling up a studio or an IP and then just sitting on it. Mass Effect Andromeda, I totally forgot that EA was involved with that, but yeah, because they took over BioWare in like 2006 or 7, and yeah, so the Mass Effect franchise was pretty good back in the day, although they screwed up on the ending when you realized none of your choices mattered and all this other stuff, so whatever. Then they had Mass Effect Andromeda, and it was a worse thing. Let's just say you don't want that abomination ever. Unless you're one of those weird people who like it for whatever reason. But hey, more power to you. I can't tell you what to like and not like. Tiberian's Son and the Death... Oh, that's what I was talking about. The Death of Westwood. Yeah, seriously. They took over They gobbled up Westwood, got the Command and Conquer series and all that stuff, and what do we get for our troubles? This. Command and Conquer's rival. That's what we get. Because we totally needed that. Yeah. Star Wars Battlefront. Pretty sure we already talked about that, of course, with the microtransactions and other thing, which is why Anthem was a big thing, and they had to redo everything from the ground up, because everything was built around that whole thing. Spore, Maxim, same thing. Shady advertisement. I don't even care about them advertising me. But this is another one that was on my list. Was games that lack innovation. Seriously. I can understand back in the day when we had this thing, like NHL 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, all the way up to whenever online became a thing, mostly, with the PS3 and the Xbox and stuff like that, and 360 and all that. By the time that happened, I think it would be easier to just do like updates to a current game for a while, instead of coming out with, NHL 19. You could have bought like NHL 90 or NHL, the National Hockey League. Come on. Anyway, you'd buy like the 2017 version of that, because they're not really doing much in the way of innovation to those titles. They're just changing the roster. And you throw out, hey, here's the 2018 roster. $29.99 or whatever. I don't know what these games actually release for. Maybe they're full price. But, and then next year do another update. And then when you actually get around to doing some, actual innovation to the game, you could then make a new game and release it, upgraded graphics, things like that. In this day and age, there's no need to buy a brand new version of this game other than for the updated rosters. And then, of course, worst company in America award, which is no small feat. I mean, come on. between them and Activision. They're like practically fighting neck and neck for that worst company in the United States kind of award. But anyway, I hit the wrong button. But anyway, EA struggles with the perception that we're just a bunch of bad guys. EA, come on now. Think real hard. Use this thinking cap up here. Use that head of yours. It's not hard to figure out why people don't like you and why you're the worst company in America. Twice in a row, if not more. I need to actually go count their golden poop awards. But anyway, EA, come on now. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.